video is a lot of things. It's the final boss of the Skywalker saga, it's a piece of Reylo fan art, and it might be the most elaborate Ben Solo challenge video of all time. But there is one thing that always determines the direction of the Star Wars videos I work on. In case you don't know, these games were solid adaptations of the original trilogy that came out for the Super Nintendo, and I keep returning to them for inspiration because there's something about dusty old Star Wars stuff from the early 90s that I just love. They're charming in a way that I think a lot of new Star Wars stuff isn't. So I'm just trying to infuse the new with a little bit of the old. Everything I'm going for in this video is aiming to expand upon those original game visuals created by artists John Knowles and Harrison Fong. The way I see it, if you're going to make something look like a game, you should fully commit. Just making something boxy with beep-bop-boop sounds may be charming, but it's not honest to what retro games were. Sure, it's an aspect of the format, but these game graphics were pieces of art that looked the way they did because of the limitations of the time. It's not about making things look blocky, it's about working within limitations.
Now you're playing with power, superpower.
And to give myself these limitations, I've come up with 5 rules that I follow when doing pixel animations. Study real retro games and settle on the style you're going for. For this video, it was easy. I'm going for the mostly realistic, detailed style of Super Star Wars. Have a consistent pixel size. Unless you're imitating the scaling of Mode 7, all the pixels should be the same size. I work at a small resolution, then upscale it later for the final render. A good size that I work at normally is 320 by 180 pixels. That always upscales super nicely to 1080p. For this video, I worked at 398 by 224 because I wanted to show off the background more. Plus, it's the Super Nintendo's resolution, just opened up to a widescreen aspect ratio. Limit your color palette. A limited palette is why a lot of pixel art looks the way it does. For maximum authenticity to the original games, I use some third-party Paint.net plugins that allow me to extract color palettes from some of the original game graphics and apply it to some of my new art. A lot of the time, I create the art like it's a normal piece of digital art, then I scale it down and apply the color palette later. I still have to make pixel by pixel adjustments, but color reducer and color palette matcher tools are a great time saver. At this point, I've amassed a pretty big library of color palettes from various projects, and I always try to keep the palettes authentic to whatever style I'm imitating. No button prompts. This one's more my personal preference. I think button prompts and QuickTime events are some of the most overused tropes in pixel animation videos. Real NES and Super Nintendo games didn't even have them, so just including them in a video feels cheap and unnecessary to me. I don't have anything against health bars, but the reason I don't usually use health bars is because it can complicate things when multiple characters share the screen. I'm more interested in retelling the scene and adapting the choreography in a new art style. Excellent chiptunes arranged by Kenny Mac already do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to making it feel like a game. Don't forget to aim high. You may have a limited resolution and you might have a limited color palette, but there are no limits on your imagination. There are so many things that you can do within those limitations. I hope that was interesting. I just wanted to give sort of my thought process behind the design of 16-bit scenes. I personally thought the Rise of Skywalker was mildly disappointing, but even though some movies can be incredibly flawed sometimes, I don't think it's worth getting bent out of shape about. I like animating videos that find and celebrate the good in them. If you want to see more stuff from me, I have my own YouTube channel, which has mostly Star Wars videos. You can also follow me on Twitter. Kenny also has a YouTube channel, Twitter, and a website. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.